Hello students, welcome to this video on Food and Textile Studies for grade 9. In today's lesson, we'll be learning about a textile decoration technique known as the tie and dye technique. But first, let us look at the learning objectives of this lesson. Learning objectives. This video will help you to explain the term tie and dye. Apply color to fabric using the tie and dye technique. Identify the different ways fabrics can be tied to create interesting patterns during dyeing. List the safety precautions to adopt for dyeing fabric or garment. The dyeing process is a method of applying color to fibers, yarns, fabrics, or garments to enhance their appearance. Tie and dye is one technique used to add patterns or designs to a fabric or garment before the dyeing process. The technique consists of tying areas of a fabric or a garment according to a desired design and then immersing it in a dye bath. The tied areas resist the dye and keep the original color of the fabric. There are many ways in which fabrics or garments can be folded, pleated, or rolled to create interesting patterns. Let us see some tying techniques which you may do. The first one is to tie the fabric or the garment in bunches at equal intervals. You will obtain a dotted pattern on the fabric or garment after dyeing, as you can see in the picture. The next technique is the bullseye effect. To obtain this pattern, you need to pinch the center of the fabric or garment to a point and tie at equal intervals with a cord, and the result is as you see in the picture. The next one is quite easy. It's the crumple technique. You just need to crush the fabric or garment into a ball-like shape and tie tightly all around with a cord, and you get this as the end result. To obtain pattern with stripes, you will need to fold the fabric or garment backward and forward to form pleats, similar to an accordion. Then, tie the folded fabric or garments at equal intervals, and then you will obtain the striped effect. A last tying technique, the spiral design. It is an interesting pattern, and to be able to achieve this effect, you will need to make a pinch in the center of the fabric or garment and twist until it is in a spiral shape. Secure with a cord, and you will obtain this result. Besides tying fabric with cord or elastic, small objects such as clothes peg or pebbles, buttons and bottle caps can also be combined with the ties to create a variety of patterns. There are various ways whereby fabrics can be tied to create interesting patterns after dyeing. Some examples are illustrated. It can be a series of bullseye pattern. You can fold your fabric in triangular shape and hold folded fabric with paper clamps or with ice cream sticks or bamboo sticks tied with elastic, and you will get results as seen on the picture. How about we do an activity together? Can you identify the tying technique used to obtain the following patterns? The first one is the bands or strips tying technique. The next one is the bullseye technique. And the last one is the dot tying technique. Well done. So let us see how to dye a fabric or a garment. And for that, you will need a white t-shirt or fabric tied up in a technique of your choice. Here the t-shirt has been tied using the bullseye technique. You will also need salt. You will need dye powder, a color of your choice, an aluminium vessel, or most commonly known as the Dexi, a wooden spoon, and the kitchen stove. It can be an electric kitchen stove or a gas stove. So the step one would be, in an aluminium vessel, add boiled water, the dye powder and the salt. Put 2 tablespoons of salt per 1 liter of water. Step 2. Place the aluminium vessel with the dye mixture on the stove, medium heat, and stir the mixture with a wooden spoon to dissolve the dye powder and the salt. Step 3. To ensure that the dye adhere well, the dyed fabric or garment should be rinsed before it is immersed in the dye bath for about 25 minutes. Continue to stir the mixture gently. Step 4. At the end, remove the fabric or garment from the dye bath and rinse thoroughly. Untie the cords and hang the fabric or garment to dry. When carrying out the dyeing process, you need to be very careful. You need to work in a well-lit and well-ventilated room. Tie hair back during the dyeing process. Wear protective clothing such as an apron, mask and gloves during handling and use of dyes. Be careful with hot liquids and do not inhale the vapor. So now, how about you try out the tie and dye process? You may take the help of your parents to work out the process on a cotton fabric or garment. So today you have learned that the dyeing process is a method of applying color to fabrics or garments. that tie and dye is a technique used to create interesting patterns during the dyeing process. That there are different ways of tying fabrics or garments before dyeing to create patterns. You have learned how to apply color to fabrics or garments using the tie and dye technique. And you have also learned about the safety precautions to adopt during the dyeing process. This brings us to the end of our lesson. I hope you enjoyed the video. The next video will be on yet another interesting textile decoration technique, the quilting technique. Thank you for your attention. Until the next video.